Hello, it's another homebound edition of Books, Boots, Booze. I am your host, Dylan Thomas Good, and as always we have lots and lots of books. I've got my boots, as you can see, and I've got my booze, which today, it's in a cutty sock glass, but it's not really cutty sock, so it's just cheap, because, you know, times are tough at the moment. As a salute to being stuck at home, I'm wearing my Shining shirt. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there you go. Yeah, it's poor Torrance family. They had a problem with that whole situation, and we're trying our best at this point to not go stir crazy. And the local cat has shown up. She's being a good girl. But today we're going to talk about your day job. And right now it's become a very prevalent thing for many, many people as far as working at home. And now, with 90% of the world stuck indoors, I think it's a good time to focus on how to balance your day job and your writing. It's something that a lot of people have asked me, it's like, how can I get more free time? I've asked this question myself many times, and so we're going to hit a couple of different points that may actually help you achieve that. Second part of the show is actually, you get two different topics for the price of one today. All right. Is another way to sort of look at how to use your day job as an inspiration for your writing. And that's an important and very potentially lucrative thing. So I'm looking forward to talking about that with you as well. So join me here on Homebound BX3. All right. How to balance your day job and the reason that you've been put on the planet, which is how a lot of writers feel when it comes to writing. This is sort of an eternal quest for so many writers. It's really tough when you've got a family and a home and a marriage and children and a full-time job and a lot of responsibilities that all of us as adults have. But I'm here to tell you it gets better. and like any other job, you got to have some time management. And probably the first thing you should do is get organized and take an inventory and find out exactly what you're spending your time on. Just like you guys, I love sitting around and watching old reruns of The Simpsons and The Office for an hour each night. But that's time that you could be using to write. And I know you're tired at night and you just want to plop in front of the television, but when it comes right down to it, writing is a solitary sport. And it's something that only you can do. You can't have other people kind of piece it together for you, unless you got a lot of money. But yeah, basically figure out what is not necessary in your life, routines that are really eating into your time. And I think you'll be surprised at how much time is being consumed by a lot of these things that would be much better if you put that time towards your creative pursuits. I think one of the things that really eats into our time these days is being online. Let's face it, social media has become the new pub, the new bar. It's the meeting place for humankind, so to speak. And being in touch has become much more important to people because of, we sort of kind of dug our own grave with this, and the fact that because of the technological issues and environment that we've built now, people are more distanced. But we can stay in touch, and that's become very paramount to a lot of people. Staying in touch with family, staying in touch with their job, staying in touch with all the opportunities that life can offer. But you got to turn that shit off sometimes, folks. You need some me time, and me time is writing time for a lot of folks. And the only way to really achieve that is to turn off the Facebook, turn off the Twitter, turn off the Instagram, and the Snapchat, and all those things that are really, really monopolizing a lot of your free time when you're not at your day job. I know that you can be really, really tired after you do your job, and you come home, you get something to eat, do whatever, but try not to spend your entire time off, whether it's Saturday and Sunday or Monday and Wednesday or whatever times you get off. Don't reserve all that time for doing chores around the house. And trust me, I've gotten into this. And by doing that, you create this horrible, vicious cycle of feeling totally overwhelmed all the time and never having any time off, so to speak. Because it's like, okay, Saturday I got to clean the house, and then Sunday I got to go get groceries, and it's like, okay, and we're back to yet another thing of, I know that you're tired after you get done with your job, but if you space out a few of these things during the week after you get home, whether it's, okay, I'll just do the laundry tonight, or I'll just clean the toilets, or I'll just go and get the groceries this evening, then you're freeing yourself up on the weekends, especially if you're out. If you have, errands that you run outside the house, you're already out. If you're going to your job right now, you're not, of course, because everybody's stuck home, because this is COVID-19 edition. But once everything goes back to normal, you will be going to work every day, and you will have that chance to pick up something on your way home that otherwise you're going to have to go and drive somewhere and all that. So it's all about life hacking. And you can actually kind of piggyback some of these things, and by doing so, you're just doing yourself a favor by freeing up more of your time. Probably another thing that a lot of people need is motivation to write. I mean, people love to write, but actually kicking themselves in the ass to get it done, to really get out there and do the work that they want to do, requires motivation, and a lot of that motivation comes from other people. So go and find people that you know will motivate you, will support you, will be behind you and say, this is what you want to do it. Don't forget, spend some time for yourself. I love surrounding myself with people who are really, really supportive of not just my creative endeavors, but things that I want to achieve in life, whether it's, getting a new car or saving for a trip or whatever it is. If you have people around you that are, constantly reminding you of what's important, you're more inclined to take part in that and make it a priority in your life and cut out some of the dross that's holding you back from having the time to do it. By doing that, though, and so finally you do have time, what you have to do is designate some boundaries. And if you're a family type person and you've got a lot of responsibilities in that forum, then you're going to have to create some boundaries. Talk to your spouse and say, hey, when the sign's on the door, don't come in, I'm going to be spending an hour to write. Or, tell your kids, get them interested in what you're doing and have them back you up and say, hey, take care of your sister, the jets are flying over again. But yeah, have your family support you. Get them interested and excited about what you're trying to achieve with your writing. My last thing in this section is know when to say no. I know you want to be social. I know you love your friends. I know you want to take part in unwinding and having a lot of fun, but you have to learn to say no. It's great to go out and have a drink after work or at work, but don't get in the habit of filling up all your time and then having none for yourself. So that's an important thing to remember, is say yes to yourself and no to other people. It's tough to do sometimes. I know it took me a long time, but I'm real good at it now. And you will be too. So like I said, make time for yourself by taking a little bit of that time back from other people. And it's, Rome wasn't built in a day, so don't expect it to happen overnight, but do continually work at making yourself and your writing and your goals one of your main priorities. The second half of the show, we're going to focus on ways to make your job an inspiration for your writing. And I know a lot of you are out there thinking, okay, well, I'm a cashier. How much inspiration can I get out of my job? And the answer is a lot. Because if you've been in the working world for anything more than a few hours, literally, I'm serious, there is going to be something that influences you creatively. There's going to be some touchstone, whether it's a bad boss, a supportive coworker, a project that went horribly wrong, something. There's going to be something in your work history, perhaps numerous things, that you can use as a catalyst to make something that is really, 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 really important to not just you, but to other people. I think the working world's a great place to get inspiration from anger or fulfillment or anything like that, because this also works the other way. It's not just, oh, I'm pissed off at my workers, or I'm, having a problem with my boss. You could also do some really rewarding charity work or something that impacts you in a major emotional way, and that could, open up the floodgates for creating something that is really going to be a common touch to other people. Basically, my mantra is always the same when it comes to your work influencing your creativity stuff, and that's if it impacted you and had a big influence on your life in some respect, then it's likely going to have that effect on other people. When I worked on the coast of Oregon, and I was in a lot of tourism-driven things and just a lot of service jobs. This goes back 20, 25 years now. And I had some of the best times of my life and some of the best friendships I ever had. And it recently influenced one of my next novels, my newest manuscript. And so there's, like I said, even just a job as menial as that provided me with 75,000 words of a manuscript. So there's so much potential there. And I think probably another thing to remember whenever it comes to using your job as a jumping off point for a creative endeavor is be persistent, and always remember that if you're doing something for someone else, see if there's somehow you can do it just with you. Become a consultant or a contractor or something, because if you do that, there's not only a chance that you can make more money and have more control over your work, but you probably won't have to deal with a lot of commute times and a lot of extracurricular things. A lot of us have jobs where we have to go on Saturdays to do meetings or conventions or something, where you're doing some kind of community outreach or developmental training and things like that. You don't have to do that if you're working at your home. I started working on a telecommuting basis back in 2017. And it's been 3 years now, and I don't think that I could ever go back to working in an office again. There are some drawbacks. If you're an independent contractor, you're not going to be able to accrue paid time off, and you're not going to get insurance, and a lot of these perks that come with more stable W-2 based kind of jobs. But there are some really, really big advantages to it, and if you're a writer and you really, really have limited time to work on your craft, then this may be something that serves you. I mentioned a lot of things to do with finding a writer's niche and things that help you carve out a space where you can create really comfortably. And I did that a few episodes ago. I think it was episode 8, and it had to do with writers' rituals and these sort of habits that we get in as writers to feel comfortable and create and do our best work. And that actually has sort of a common thread with what I'm talking about here. So go back and watch that if you're really interested in making your home space or your workspace or whatever the best it can be, because there's some helpful hints as well on that. But most importantly, keep at it. No one's going to write for us. It's something that we have to do ourselves, and you should want to do it, and you should be able to be creative in a comfortable space, because then that sort of becomes more rewarding for the writer. So yeah, get out there, find what you do it well, see if you can do it at home. Use the time-saving tips, and don't give up. Right now we're all stuck at home. Like I said, this is COVID-19 edition, but there's going to be a turnaround, and everything's going to go back to something approximating normal. So we'll see if that works. And in the meantime, though, be proactive about how much time you have. And right now we sort of all have a little bit extra time because we're not going to work, or we're not doing these certain things that are constituents of our regular life, but they will, that time will go away, and we will go back to normal here. So use that time now, to make really good new habits, and to put a really specific priority on your writing. But so that's it. Thank you for joining me again here on BX3, and hopefully, if all goes well, we'll be all going back to work and doing normal things here in the next short while. But until then, definitely take care of yourself, stay inside, stay healthy, and be good to yourself. I'll see you next time. Oh, hey, don't stick your head in my whiskey, Kitta.